He's joining. Yes. Good afternoon. Welcome to York St. John University Virtual Open Day organized by BWBS Education Consultant. We are live from London and we welcome you today to know more about UK university admission process and course offerings by the York St. John University. My name is Walid Hussain. I am the founder and director of BWBS Education Consultant. I would like to give you a brief idea of what we are going to cover today in this live session. We will explore international foundation, bachelor and master's courses options offering by the York St. John University. We'll also look at important deadlines for September 2021 intake, application processing time, English language requirements, academic entry requirements, university scholarships, accommodation, COVID-19 update. There will be a question and answer session from prospective students commenting on Facebook. That will be for 20 minutes or half an hour. I am introducing Mr. Jonny Jenkins, the International Recruitment Student Recruitment Manager of York St. John University. Hi, Jonny. Do you want to say something towards our audience?
Yes. Hi, Wally. Thank you very much for having me here today. So yeah, like Wally said, my name is Jonny Jenkins. I am the International Regional Manager for the Middle East, Africa and South Asia here at York St. John University. So I'm here alongside Wally and I'm here to tell you everything about the university and update you on everything that's happened this year, what you need to know and everything you need to do before now, between now and September.
Well, thank you, Jonny, for your introduction. Let me tell about BWBS Education Consultant. We are British Council trained certified agent and UCAS registered center. We offer 100% free admission services. We are representing 60 plus UK universities. Our head office based in London in UK. We speak 20 different languages. We have 15 plus branch offices in 12 countries. We have 98% visa success rate and 99.6% student satisfaction rate. We offer guaranteed partial scholarships, first application processing and quick offer letters. We can organize for you. Also, we can organize universities' own English test with free of charge. We also help and assist for the personal statement writing, credibility and visa interview guidance. We also have the students for visa application process, accommodation arrangement and airport pickup. And last of all, we provide future career guidance for the students after their graduation, if they're looking for any job relevant to their field. We have an alumni group team, and they help you how to get a job, where to apply, how to apply. So they will give you all kind of career guidance. So this is it, Mr. Jonny. You can. This is your time now to express about York St. John University.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and deliver a presentation. And this presentation is an introduction to the university, but I will also include lots of information on things like the application procedures, information on scholarships, and then also more pressing matters such as, a COVID-19 update and our response this year and what we're going to be doing in September for all of our students that are incoming. And I'll also talk a little bit about the new graduate route visa as well. And then, like Walid said, we can do we can do some question and answers at the end. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Perfect. So yeah, my name is Jonny Jenkins. I'm the International Regional Manager for the Middle East, Africa and South Asia at York St. John University. So just some quick facts about York St. John. We were founded in 1841, so we've got 170 years of experience. We've been York St. John University as we are now since 2007. But before that, we were teaching in various different capacities. But like I said, we've got 170 years of experience. At the moment, we're about 8,000 students from 100 different nationalities, which puts us in a small to medium-sized university in the UK. We've got 500 international students. There's probably a lot more than that at the moment. And we're aiming to grow that quite significantly in the next few years. By 2026, we want to be at 2,000 international students. We offer 200 courses across 5 schools. We've invested over 100 million into our university facilities over the last few years. We guarantee accommodation to all first-year students, and we have scholarships available worth up to £1,000 for all international students. Now, the thing I like to talk about first at York St. John is the way that we teach. It's a little bit different to other universities and universities in the UK. So the first thing we do is we try to teach in small class sizes. We understand that when you go to university and you're in a big lecture hall with 100 or 200 students, it's scary to put your hand up and ask a question, especially when you're there as an international student studying in your second language. So what we do is we try and teach in small class sizes of 15, 20 students, where all of our students are much more comfortable, and therefore they're more likely to put their hands up, ask a question, and get more out of the session. Our whole aim is for all of our teachers to know our students by name. We want to create a really strong relationship between teacher and student, and therefore the students getting the absolute most out of every single classroom. We say name, not a number. And one of the benefits of the way that we're teaching in small class sizes is that early this year, when we weren't in lockdown, but we still had restrictions in place, we were still able to teach in person because we had small class sizes. It's easy to socially distance and can carry on as normal. Whereas other universities that have a lot more lectures with 100, 200 students where it's impossible to socially distance, they had to go online. And we still have a few big lectures which had to go online, but a lot more of our classes were in person compared to other universities. Another thing we do, like a lot of modern universities, we focus on making our courses really hands-on and practical. We want our students to get jobs when they finish. We want them to be as employable as possible. And for that, they need to have the skills to back up their knowledge. So what we've done is we spent a lot of money in our campus and our facilities, which allows us to make our courses really practical because we've got the facilities to do that. So that way we develop our students' skills as well as their knowledge. Another thing we do is we try to teach in a similar working environment to that relevant industry. So, for example, in computer science, so say you're working in software development, you are likely to work in a small teams of maybe about 8, and you will be working kind of project-based in kind of an agile way. So what we do in our computer science undergraduate program is that we stick our students into small teams, we get them to work on projects for all 3 years. So by the time they graduate, they've got 3 years of experience working within that environment, which means when they do go get a job, they're ready to hit the ground running. This in turn makes them all a bit more employable. And we also focus on working with real world companies. So our undergraduate courses, the majority of them have a placement year option. Our postgraduate courses either have a placement option or an opportunity to work on a project with a business. And each of our schools has some kind of project with a local business or organization, which means you can go out and do projects with that business organization. So, for example, our business school runs a consultancy clinic where our students get to work as a consultant for local businesses. Our law school have a law clinic where they get to work a consultancy service to local firms as well. So what I'm saying is you cannot graduate from York St John without some kind of work experience. So just to summarize, like I said, we teach in small class sizes, we're practical, we teach in the same environment to what you're going to be working in, and you get work experience. And all four of those things result in making our students even more employable and making them as employable as possible, basically. So just some key selling points about the university. So in last year's National Student Survey, which is a survey of all students in the UK at all universities, we finished in the top 25% of universities for student satisfaction and student experience. Now, the big statistic for me is this next one. Like I said, the way that we teach is focused on making our students as employable as possible. So the fact that 97% of our graduates find work or further study within 6 months of graduating is huge. And that's partly down to the way that we teach, and also down to our amazing career service. We've got an award-winning career service that will help our students find jobs when they graduate. We've got a beautiful campus right in the centre of the stunning historical city of York. We've been voted the best city to live, the best northern city, and the safest city in recent years. And we've got a beautiful campus right in the middle of it. In terms of feedback from international students, so in last year's International Student Barometer results, which is a survey of international students at UK universities, we finished third in overall student satisfaction. So that was huge for us. So the international students in the UK voted us the third best university. So we're really, really happy with that. And in terms of the wider league tables, we're not the highest ranked university, but we're a university on the rise. We've risen a minimum of 12 places in the 3 major league tables over the past 2 years, which means we're a university that's just getting better and better. So just to double down on some of those rankings, like I said, York is a city. It's been voted the best UK city, the best northern city to live in, and the safest city. In the National Student Survey, we've ranked 29 out of 122. And in the Times, we finished 81st, and the Guardian, we finished 91st. And like I said, with the International Student Barometer results, we finished third for overall satisfaction. But the key thing for me there is we also finished second for value for money satisfaction. So our international students feel like they're getting a lot for their money at York St John University. And I think that's very, very important. And just something I want to talk about very quickly is our facilities. As I said at the start, we've invested over 100 million into our campus and facilities in recent years. And first of all, we started spending that money on our teaching facilities. So you can see there on the list there that we've got new biomedical science labs, and this allows us to make our courses really hands-on and practical. But another thing that we've done recently is we've invested into buildings like our new library, like our student accommodation, sports park, student union building. These are all facilities that greatly improve the wider student experience. We first invested in the classroom to make sure our students have a good learning experience, but now we've invested outside of the classroom so our students have a much more enjoyable student life and have a better student experience while they're studying with us. So we're investing in the whole student experience, not just inside the classroom. And we're looking to grow as a university. We're 8,000 students at the moment. We want to be 10,000 students in 5 years' time. And to do that, we need to keep growing physically as well. So we're going to continue to build new buildings and facilities each year. So in September, we will be opening our brand new Creation Centre, which is a purpose-built building for computer science students. Now, just to tell you quickly about York. York is a hugely popular city in the UK. It has a lot of history, a lot of culture, a lot of art, and there's lots of things happening in the city. And because of this, it's very, very popular with tourists. People come from all over the UK, all over the world to go visit York. So it's a really cool place to be because there's always something happening. We've got a campus right in the city centre, so you can just walk a 5-minute walk into the city centre, and there'll be something different happening every single day because it is one of those places where it's bustling. There's lots of life, lots of energy, festivals happening, and it's a really cool place to be. And it's a night, and especially as a student, you want to be where the things are happening. Another good thing about York is it's very well connected. To get to York is really easy. There's direct train from Manchester Airport to York train station, and York train station is just walking distance from the university. So to get to the university, all you need to do is fly to Manchester Airport, catch one train, and then you're walking distance from the university. It's really easy to get to. And it's well connected within the UK as well. There's a direct train to London that takes less than 2 hours. And for those of you that want to stay in the UK after you study as well, York is the UK's fastest growing city as well, which means there's a lot of job opportunity. There's going to be more and more job opportunities as we go into the future. Because like I said, we're growing, the city is growing, which means there's more industry going and therefore more jobs. And one thing I want to talk about quickly is, as I said, York is very, very popular with tourists. People are coming from all over to visit the city. And because of that, there's a lot of part-time job opportunities. So international students in the UK are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week alongside their study. So you can work 20 hours, earn a bit of money to help support you while you're studying. And as I said, York is very, very popular as a tourist city, which means there's lots of job opportunities in the retail sector, the tourism sector, and the hospitality sector. And in the UK, the minimum wage is quite good. So if you're 18 to 20 years old, it's £6.56 per hour. If you're 21 to 22 years old, it's £8.38 per hour. And if you're 23 years or older, then it's £8.91 per hour. And the majority, and that's the absolute minimum wage. Realistically, you're probably going to earn a little bit more than that because a lot of companies like to pay a bit more than minimum wage to stay competitive. And I mentioned our career service team before, who help all of our students get jobs when they graduate, but they're also there to help you find part-time work as a student as well. So they'll help you with your CV, they'll help you with your interview prep, and they'll actually help you find the opportunities as well. So you'll have support finding these jobs. You won't just be looking for them on your own. And like I said, there's a lot of job opportunities in York because of how popular it is. So it's very realistic that you'll be able to get a job and support yourself while you study. Now, probably one of the most important slides I'm going to be delivering this is tuition fees and scholarships. So our tuition fees at York St John, so for our foundation programs, it's £10,000. For our undergraduate courses, it's £12,750 per year. For our postgraduate courses, the majority of which cost £12,750. A couple cost a bit more, but the majority cost £12,750. And our MBA costs £10,800. At the moment, we just offer the one scholarship, which is a £1,000 tuition fee reduction scholarship. But that is available for all international students, no matter the study level. All you need is an offer from the university, and then it's simply just completing an application form on our website, and that tuition fee reduction scholarship will be taken off your fees. So with that scholarship, you can study a master's with us for less than £12,000, and you can study an MBA for less than £10,000, which we think is quite affordable. And on top of that, we also offer a 5% early payment discount. So if you pay all your fees for that year before you enroll, you'll get a 5% discount. Now, another really important slide, this is our application procedure. Obviously, we work very closely with BWBS, and they will be there to help you through the whole application process. So if you don't remember every single step here, all the information here, please get in contact with them, and they will be able to, and they will guide you through absolutely everything. So the first step is to apply. So we have an direct online application form. It's on our website, and it's completely free to use. It's really easy to use, and it's completely free. It doesn't cost anything at all to apply. a lot of our undergraduate courses, as long as we get all the documents we need, we can sometimes process offers in up to 48 hours. Obviously, if we are missing documents and we have to chase you for documents, then it'll take a little bit longer. And some of our postgraduate courses involve a academic review, which means the school needs to check things. That takes a little bit longer. But like I said, as long as we get everything we need, and it's for an undergraduate course, then we can usually process offers in up to 48 hours. We can normally turn offers around in about a week or so, as long as, like I said, we get everything we need. At that point, once you apply, you will then receive an offer. You can then, once you have an offer, you can then apply for the scholarship on our website. When you meet all the requirements in our offer, you will then be invited to a precast interview. So all students from Africa and South Asia are required to complete a precast interview. So this is just a credibility interview with myself or one of my colleagues in the visa team. Once you pass that interview, you will then receive an unconditional offer. Students with unconditional offers will then be encouraged to pay their deposit. So at York St. John, the deposit is 50% of the first year fees. Okay. So say, for example, the MBA is 10,800. So the deposit is 5,400. Once you have paid your deposit, you will then be able to apply for your CAS. Once again, we can turn CAS around in 48 hours as long as we get everything we need. Once you have your CAS, you'll be able to apply for your visa. So visa applications are now open. So we recommend that you get going as soon as possible. And then once you have your visa, you then come in September, and upon enrollment, you can either pay your remaining fees upon enrollment, or we have an installment plan where you pay for your remaining fees in 3 installments throughout the year. Or you can pay all of your fees before you enroll and receive the early payment discount. So just to go over that again, it's apply online, get your offer, pre-CAS interview, pay your deposit, CAS application, visa application, enrollment. Like I said, visa applications are now open. So we recommend that you move as quickly as possible to get through the application procedure, because obviously with the pandemic, there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things can go wrong. So the more time you give yourself, the better. So it is important that you sort out your application and get your CAS application and visa application in as soon as possible. Now, quickly, just to tell you about our foundation years. So we have 8 subject specific foundation years. So a foundation year is an additional year of study. So it's like a year 0 ahead of a bachelor's degree. So for a lot of countries, the high school leaving certificate doesn't meet our undergraduate requirements, and we need an extra qualification. And the extra qualification can be our foundation year. You can also choose to do foundation years elsewhere, but we've run our own. So our subject-specific foundation years it's a 4-year CAS. So what that means is you just need to have one visa, and it covers the foundation year and then the bachelor's program that you plan to move on to. So it's just 4 years, one CAS, one visa application, nice and simple. The foundation year costs £10,000, and then the bachelor's year, so year 1, 2, and 3, costs £12,750 per year. Our entry requirements vary depending to country. I'll run through that quickly in a bit. But basically, it's your high school leaving certificate with good grades. Our subject-specific foundation years don't include any English. So our IELTS, our English requirement is IELTS 6.0 or the equivalent score in another English language test. And then we teach in 8 different subjects. We also do an international foundation year. So this is the same as our subject-specific foundation year, but there is a large amount of English language content. So our English language requirement is IELTS 4.5. So the IELTS score is a lot, and the required English is a lot lower, because we'll be teaching you English along the way. And just to show how easy it is to apply, obviously you'll do this with BWBS, but it's just on our website. You click on international, click on how to apply, and then it's complete our direct application form. And that link there will take you straight to the application form. And like I said, it's completely free, really easy to use. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly run through the entry requirements. So for Bangladesh, if you've done the higher secondary certificate or the diploma, then we just need, for our foundation programs, we need a GPA of 3.5 with a minimum of 60% in mathematics. If you want to go on to our undergraduate programs, we either need a recognized foundation program. If you're doing the diploma, we need 60% or above. Or if you're doing a bachelor's degree for 2 years, then we'll need B, 60% or 3.0. Whatever way it's been graded, we need that score if you've studied it for 2 years. And if you are coming on to a postgraduate course, we need a 4 years bachelor's honours degree from a UK now recognised institution for business courses. For non-business courses, we need a 3 years bachelor's degree followed by a 2 years master's degree in the relevant subject for all other courses. So if you're applying to a business course, we just need a 4 years bachelor's. If you're applying to a course outside of our business school, then we just need a 3 years bachelor's followed by a 2 year master's. The English language requirement for all courses are the same, which is IELTS 6.0 with no subtest below 5.5 or the equivalent score in all three, or the equivalent score in another English language test. For Pakistan, once again, the high school leaving certificate. This time we need a minimum score of 70%. For undergraduate, a foundation program, or if you've done an associate degree / a bachelor's degree, then we need either 54.5%, 2.5 GPA, or CB, whichever way it's being graded. And then for postgraduate, we need a minimum GPA of 2.6 from a university bachelor degree, a 4-year program for our courses that require a 2-2. From India, if you get 55% in the HSC state board, then you can do a foundation. If you get 50% in the central board secondary education certificate, you can do our foundation. If you get 60% or higher across all boards, you can come onto our undergraduate program, or if you have a recognized foundation program. But we do accept the 12th higher qualification, so just 60% or higher. If you want to study postgraduate, then we just need a bachelor's degree with 60% or higher. We can accept the high school, the 12 highers, English if you get a score of 70% or higher. So you won't need to do IELTS if you get 70% or higher. For Nigeria, for foundation, we just need 5 C6s in the WIAC. For undergraduate, we need a foundation year or the national diploma with a 2.5 GPA or merit. And then for postgraduate, we need a bachelor's degree with 50 or higher. It is worth noting that all of these entry requirements are on our website. And if you do have any really specific questions, get in contact with myself or BWBS. For Nigeria, we can accept the WIAC English. So as long as you've got a C6 or higher in English, we can accept that. Otherwise, we do require IELTS or an equivalent English language test. For Egypt, we in the General Certificate of Secondary Education, we need a 65% or good classification. If your highest qualification is that secondary school certificate, then we need a foundation year, unless you've done the Al-Azhar training diploma, which we need 70%. And for our postgraduate courses, we need a minimum grade of 2.4 in a university bachelor's degree. For Algeria, in the baccalaureate, for foundation, in the baccalaureate, we need a score of 10 out of 20. If you get a score of 14 or above, you can qualify for direct entry onto our undergraduate programs. And then for our postgraduate programs, if you do one of the diplomas and get a grade of 10 or higher, then you may be considered. We just need to check what you studied. So please send your transcripts to our admissions team to check. For Morocco, it's same again. If in the baccalaureate, if you get 10, you can qualify for a foundation program. If you get 14 or higher, you can qualify for undergraduate. And then if you get a 10 in one of the degrees, then you qualify for our postgraduate programs. And if any of you are at international schools, if you're at a British international school and you're doing A-levels, we need a minimum score of 3 Cs. If you are doing the IB, then we need 24 IB points. And if you're at an American school, then we need a 2.8 GPA and then one of the following. So either 1,180 in the SATs, 2 APs with a 3 or higher, or 24 in the ACT. So we just need one of those 3 things, not all of them. So like I said, that is our entry requirements, but everything is on our website. So you don't need to memorize everything I've just said. Everything's on the website. All you need to do is go on there, type in your country, and it will come up. And just to quickly talk through our English language requirements, our standard English language requirement is IELTS 6.0 with no subtest below 5.5, or the equivalent score in another test. Now, we understand that a lot of test centres are closed at the moment because of the pandemic, and some of them are opening, some of them are closing, and it's very, very confusing. So we are accepting some online English language tests now. So we're accepting the IELTS indicator and the Oxford International English Language Test. So you can meet our English language requirement without having to leave your house. And if you don't quite meet our English language requirement, we do have pre-sessional English language courses. So these are courses that you study to improve your English, ready to start your program in September. So if your IELTS score is a 0.5 below requirement, so if your IELTS score is 5.5, and then you can do a 5-week. If it's a 1.0 below a requirement, you can do the 10-week. If it's 1.5, you can do the 20-week, and so on. The deadline's already passed for the 20 and the 25-week, but we still have spaces on the 5 and 10 weeks. So if your English doesn't quite meet our requirements, but you still want to start in September, then you can still apply to do one of our pre-sessional courses. And I just want to quickly talk through some of our course highlights. For undergraduate, we have our biomedical science program. It's one of our better ones. We've got brand new labs, so it's really, really practical. And the key thing to mention with this is our course leader for this program has just won Bioscience Teacher of the Year. So you're literally being taught by a course run by the best teacher, bioscience teacher in the UK. So you couldn't really be in a better place. And we've already got graduates working on COVID vaccines and COVID treatments. Our geography program, once again, really, really practical, but it's lots of field work. So you do lots and lots of trips around the local area, but also internationally. So you're doing lots of actually hands-on practical work in the field. With international tourism and hospitality, like I said, York as itself, as a city, is very, very popular with tourists. And so what we do is we partner with Visit York, and you go and do lots of little placements and work experiences with Visit York. So you're already in a tourism hotspot, and then you get a lot of work experience working within that tourism hotspot. A law program, another program that works very closely with local law firms. So we have projects in place where you can go and work on learning how to complete the paperwork within law clinics, which means you have all the skills when you do graduate to go get a job. So you've already got a lot of the administrative skills. And also we run our own law clinic. So you get real world experience working as a lawyer, working as a consultant for real world companies. Our graphic design and our computer science courses are taking full advantage of the brand new creation centre that's opening in September. So it's a purpose-built building for our students on those courses. So it's going to have all the latest technology, all the latest equipment. Everything's going to be brand new. It's going to be the perfect place to learn. And our sport and exercise program, we have a new sports campus, which is a 20-minute walk from the university. And it's amazing. It's got so much space, all the latest equipment, science labs, gyms, playing fields, absolutely everything. And it's very, very impressive. I myself am a huge sports fan, and I'm hugely jealous that I didn't get to study at a university like York St John that has these kind of facilities. Postgraduate wise, our MBA, there's a placement year option. Sorry, the numbers there is wrong. With the scholarship, you can do the 1 year MBA for £9,800. So it's still less than £10,000. You can do an MBA with us for less than £10,000. For 3D design and virtual and augmented reality, once again, you'll be working in a brand new building with the latest technology. So it really, if you're looking for, a practical hands-on course where you can be working with the same kind of equipment and programs that you'd be using in industry, those are some really, really good courses. Education. We've been teaching education for over 170 years. We've got a lot of experience doing it. So it's what we're known for as a university. It's what it's what our history is. So, and we've got so much experience teaching it. So it's a good course to come study at York St John. Our TESOL course is one of our most internationally renowned courses. Our academics are known all over the world, are really, really well connected, and it's a great international course to study. And then finally, our photography, illustration, and fine art MFAs. So these are really practical, hands-on courses, lots of great facilities. But the best thing with these is that you're in the beautiful city of York. So you're in a great place to kind of gain inspiration and really work and develop your ideas and projects. So it's a great place to come study. If you've got any specific questions about specific courses, please ask me at the end. I'll be more than happy to tell you about them. Now, just to quickly walk you through our accommodation. So we guarantee accommodation for all first-year students. We've got 8 different accommodation sites that are all within a 20-minute walk from the campus. All sites are self-catered and inclusive of bills, and there's lots of different options from shared houses, flats, all the way up to studio flats. And there's various contract lengths as well, so you can just stay just for teaching, so 36 weeks, or you can stay all year round and be there for the full 51 weeks. And because of that, the prices vary between £100 and £160 per week, depending on the accommodation style and the length of the contract. So what I'm trying to say is you guarantee accommodation, and there's a lot of different choices, lots of different opportunities and options. So you can choose the accommodation that works for you. It works for your requirement and for your budget. We've also got a great residential support team that are there 24/7 to help you with any issues you might have and help you with absolutely anything. And our university security team monitor all of our accommodation sites 24/7, so they're incredibly safe and secure as well. It's also possible to get private accommodations. This is accommodation that isn't owned by the university, but it's owned by approved landlords. This accommodation tends to be a little bit cheaper, so about £70 to £100 per week is actually probably closer to that £70 mark. The accommodation might not be as nice as university accommodation, but like I said, it is a lot cheaper. So it's up to you and what your requirements are. It's really easy to find online, but we always recommend students get in contact with our accommodation team first, just to make sure that you're buying in the right area. There's a lot of private accommodation options in York, and lots of the houses are really, really close to the university, maybe even closer than some of our own university accommodations. So, like I said, lots of opportunity, lots of options. So one thing I just wanted to make you aware of, because I know right now it's going to study abroad is very scary. Going to another country full stop is scary, but going to go study is even scarier. And in the middle of a pandemic, it's even scarier on top of that. So I just wanted to make you aware of all the support that we have on hand for our international students at York St John. So first of all, we've got a dedicated international regional manager. So that's me. So I'm here to help you with anything. Obviously, we've got our in-country partners like BWBS, but you've also got me for any specific questions about the university, any help you need, any advice. I'm here to answer your questions, and I'm here to guide you from the first time you hear about York St John to possibly this webinar to when you enroll in September. We have a brilliant visa support team that will guide you through the whole visa application process. They're really, really good, and they're really, really helpful. We've got a brilliant international student support team. So this is a specific team that's there just to support you as an international student. I'll talk about them in a second. We have global guides, and these are student ambassadors at the university who are student ambassadors at the university who are dedicated to helping international students. They're student ambassadors just for international students. We've got a great career service that will help you find part-time jobs when you're studying with us and full-time jobs when you graduate. And we also have in-sessional English language support. So what this means is, even though you might meet our English language requirement and then come study with us in September, but then you find yourself struggling with the English, with the academic English, and you're struggling to keep up. So we have these classes that run alongside your normal lectures, and that will help you develop your English and improve your English while you're studying with us. And on top of that, we have academic support workshops as well. So these are workshops run by the library where, say, there's a certain area of your skill set that you feel like you're lacking. So maybe your grammar's off, your math skills, your essay writing, your research skills. If there's anything specific you're struggling with, there's a workshop there to help you with that specific area. Now, just to quickly tell you about our international student support team, like I said, this is a team which is just there to support you as an international student. They will be in contact before you arrive. They will help you plan your arrival. They will arrange your airport pickup service. This year, they will be supporting you through quarantine as well. This team organises the International Welcome Week, the international orientation, so you get used to the university and get all the information you need to be a student. They'll take you on city tours. They'll take you on campus tours so you can adjust to the campus and to the city. And throughout the year, they run lots of social events through the global campus program. So they'll run trips, social events, and they do lots of celebrations, whether it's Diwali, Eid, Chinese New Year. Absolutely everything is covered, and they make a big effort to celebrate everything. So there's always something happening for our international students. And on top of this, they run in a drop-in service as well. So you can just drop in and ask any questions you have. They're there to help you and support you. It's a dedicated team just for our international students. And if you want to see more about what they do, there's the link to the website there. So one of the last few things I'm going to talk about is coronavirus in the UK. So the UK has started lifting restrictions following the third national lockdown. That was in January. So the government has released a 4-month plan with restrictions lifting every month. So far, we've had 3 of those. We've got 1 more to go. All restrictions should have been lifted on the 21st of June, but we've had to push that back 4 weeks because of the Indian variant. But what that means is by the 19th of July, all restrictions will be lifted in the UK. Also, all adults would have had at least their first vaccine by the 31st of July. As of now, 21-year-olds are being offered the vaccine. So we're actually massively ahead of schedule. So what I'm trying to say is by the end of July, everyone would have been vaccinated and all restrictions would be lifted. So that means in September, by September, when students arrive, then things would have been back to normal for 2 months, which means that everything in the UK will be running hopefully as close to normal as possible. So your experience when you arrive shouldn't be affected at all. The only thing that will be different is the when you arrive, you will probably have to quarantine. But once you complete your quarantine, life in the UK will be normal. We'll be teaching in person, face-to-face teaching as planned, and no restrictions in place. Students, like I said, students will probably have to quarantine. If you're coming from an amber country, you will have to quarantine in your student accommodation for 10 days. If you're coming from a red country, then you'll have to pay for a hotel quarantine, which is quite expensive. I'll talk more about that in a second, but quickly just to run you through teaching. So teaching this year has been varied. So in the first semester, the country wasn't in lockdown, but there were still restrictions in place. So we taught in a blended approach. So like I said at the start, we teach in small classrooms. So all of our small classes went on as normal. So our seminars, our tutorials, our workshops, our labs, they continue to be delivered as normal. It was only our lectures that went online. So it was a blended approach, part online, part in person. But like I said, we teach a lot more in small classes than in the universities. So we were teaching a lot more face-to-face than other universities. The last semester, however, has all been online because we went into a national lockdown. Face-to-face teaching did start again on the 17th of May, but most teaching had already finished at that point. Next semester, we are planning to be teaching face-to-face as normal. But we do have all the resources to switch online if the global situation changes again. But fingers crossed that won't happen. And like I said in the last slide, things would have been back to normal in the UK for 2 months before the next semester starts. So things should be going back to normal. So next semester shouldn't be affected at all. We should be teaching in person, face to face, as normal. So COVID arrival support. So a lot of you will be worried about traveling to the UK in September. So I'm going to tell you quickly what we've done this year to support our students and what we'll be rolling out again in September. So what we've done is we've been encouraging students to arrive 2 weeks before the start of term so they can comply with the government's 10-day quarantine regulations. So we offer a free airport pickup service at York St John. So we will come pick you up from the airport for free. So what we did is we set a specific weekend, a specific date, 2 weeks before the start of term, and we told all of our students to fly to Manchester Airport on this date, because we only offer the service from Manchester Airport. So then we pick up those students that arrived on those dates, and we took them from Manchester Airport to campus. And this service, like I said, was completely free, and we will be rolling this service out again in September. Once in the UK, students were able to quarantine in our student accommodation for 10 days. So these 10 days of accommodation were completely free. And if you are in September, if you choose to stay at our accommodation, they'll be free again. During those 10 days, we also provide our students with food packages. And they were completely free as well. So these were provided by our university catering service. And we also provided students with a welcome pack. So this had stuff like cooking equipment and bedding. So when our students arrived, they had to come to Manchester Airport, but we picked them up for free. They got to stay for free, and they got fed for free, and they had a welcome pack for free. So the quarantine, although they had to quarantine, the quarantine became at no extra cost to the student. And that's what we're hoping to roll out again in September. For students traveling from amber list countries in September, we'll be offering these services again. For students traveling from red countries, we are at the moment, we're not in a position where we can pay for you to do your hotel quarantine, because obviously it is very expensive. We pay for all students. That's very, very costly. So at the moment, we're not in a position to be able to support our students through that. So our recommendation at the moment is, if it gets to September and your country is still on the red list, then our advice would be to start your course online and then travel to the UK as soon as you are removed from the red list. But obviously things are changing all the time, and the lists in the UK are being updated every 3 weeks, which means your country could come off the red list, go back on the red list, come off the red list 3 times before the start of the next semester. So my advice is just to keep checking the UK government website, and our international student support team will be in contact beforehand. And they'll be in constant communication with all the information you need. And the last thing I just want to talk about is the post-study work visa. So this is a brand new thing that's coming out this year. It's actually starting on the 1st of July. So I'm just going to read this out because it's important. So the graduate route will be available to international students who have a valid student visa at the time of application and have successfully completed a degree at undergraduate level or above at a high-level education provider with a track record of compliance. So basically, if you've studied a bachelor's or higher at the university, you'll be able to apply for, at a UK university, you'll be able to apply for the graduate route. Successful applicants on this route will be able to stay and work or look for work in the UK at any skill level for a maximum period of 2 years if they've successfully completed an undergraduate or master's degree. PhD graduates will be able to stay for 3 years. And graduates will be able to switch into skilled work once they've found a suitable job. So what that means is you don't even have to have a job to take advantage of this new post-study work visa. You can spend those 2 years looking for jobs. And if you do a PhD, then you can stay for 3 years. And then once you've done your 2 years of work, you would be able to switch onto a skilled work visa if you have a suitable role. So the whole point of this graduate route is that you come to the UK, you come to the UK and study, and then you try and get a job which sponsors you. And finding these jobs is quite hard, especially if you've got no experience. So this visa bridges that gap. So you come to the UK, you study, you find a job through this new graduate route. You get 2 years of experience, and that will help you find a suitable job that will sponsor you, and you get a skilled work visa. The new route will launch on the 1st of July. So anyone that graduates after the 1st of July. So obviously, if you're enrolling in September, you'll graduate after this, after the 1st of July. Anyone that graduates after this date will be able to apply for the route. And like I said, we've got a brilliant career support team that will help you find a role and take full advantage of this new graduate route. The graduate route will require a new visa application, which will only be possible from inside the UK. So you have to be studying in the UK to apply for it. The cost of the visa is £700, and you'll have to pay the full immigration health surcharge at the full rate of £624 per year. You'll need to know your CAS number to apply for the graduate route, but you'll get that as part of your visa application. And it is very flexible as well. So even if you can't travel to the UK, because of COVID, the UK government have been very, very flexible. So for example, if you started a 1-year master's course in January, you've got until at the end of September to get to the UK to still be eligible to apply for the graduate route. So what I'm saying, so don't worry if you can't travel to the UK. There isn't you don't have to be there straight away. As long as you're there within about 8 months of the start of your course, you can still apply for the graduate route. So like I said before, it's an excellent opportunity if you want to stay in the UK and work, because it means you can work 2 years for 2 years without being sponsored by an employer. And then that gives you that 2 years of experience if you want to go back to your country, or if you want to then try and get a sponsored role in the UK. So this is the end of my presentation. Obviously, we can do some Q&A now. And I know I've just thrown a lot of information out during that presentation. But the key things I want you to remember about York St John are the following. First is, we're cheap and affordable. We've got affordable tuition fees, and we're a city in the north of England, which means our living costs are a lot less than, say, London and other southern cities. We've got a great location. So we're a city centre campus in the middle of the beautiful city of York. We've got a great student experience, from the way that we teach, the facilities that we've invested in, and then all of the surveys are saying that, the National Student Survey, International Student Barometer, we're ranking high on all of the student experience surveys. And we've got high graduate employability, so 97% employability. So what I always say is, we're affordable, we've got a great location, you have a good time when you're here, and you get a job when you finish. What more do you need from a university? So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for listening. And like I said, we can go into QA now. But yeah, I think I'll hand back over to Walid. I think you're on mute, Walid.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah. Thank you, Jonny, for that for long discussion. You also cleared a lot of things. So I think we can start with the question quick. Okay, there's a Arafat Abdullah. He was asking, can you explain installment system for 2 years MSc course? It's a tricky question.
Yes. So obviously masters programs in the UK are 1-year programs. But at York St John, we do 2-year programs where the second year is a placement year. So you get, a year of study and you get your masters, and you also get a year of experience. But with these 2-year programs, the second year is only a few thousand pounds because it's a placement year. So what we do is we put the payment together, and students pay for it all within the first year. So for the instalment plan for a 2-year program is you would pay your 50% deposit of the full 2 years, and then the remaining 50% will be paid in 3 installments throughout the first year, and then you'd have nothing to pay in the second year. If you're not doing an installment plan, then you would simply pay 50% as your deposit, and then you pay 50% when you enroll, and then you pay nothing more for 2 years. That's how it works. So to use our MBA, for example, so our MBA is £14,400. With the scholarship, it's 13,400, which means the deposit would be 6,700. And you pay that before you get your CAS and everything, and the remaining 6,700 would then be either paid upon enrolment or in 3 installments throughout that first year, and then that's it. And then you don't need to pay anything when you come back for your second year and do your placement. That's it. So I hope I explained that well enough, but everything's paid. If it's a 2-year master's program, everything's paid in the first year, and so it's still just 3 installments throughout the year.
Yeah, great explanation, Jonny, because we are facing the same problem from many students who are coming to us, and they say ABC University has 2 years course, and their total tuition fees is £16,000 and or £14,000. So they divided the fees first year 7,000, second year 7,000. But the general rule is all of our partner university, whoever is offering 2 years courses, basically the student must have to pay that 2 years fees in first year. But some other people or agency or the university, they mislead that information, saying that okay, first year fees is 7,000, but basically all the students they must have to pay 2 years fees in first year time. Maybe after the first installment, they have to pay the after the deposit, whatever will be the deposit, then all the money they have to pay by installment. But thanks that you are explicitly clearing everything. Thank you very much. Second question is Rashmi Ram. Age more than 40 years is eligible to study with good marks and no break in the experience.
Yeah. So yeah, there isn't a maximum age or anything like that to apply to the university. You can, if you're 40 years old, 60 years old, you can still apply to the university. At York St John, we've got quite a diverse student population. In terms of age, we do have a lot of what we refer in the UK refer to as a mature student, but a mature student is simply someone that's 21 years or older. So there's a lot of students at the university, international and home students, that have started careers and then they've come back to the university to retrain in something else. So 4 years, completely fine. With the break-in experience, that's fine. When students apply, we do ask for for a master's degree, for a postgraduate course, we do ask for a CV. And if there are any gaps of 6 months or more within the CV, we do ask for an explanation, to explain what was the reason for that gap. So it could just be, sickness, or maternity leave or anything like that. We just need an explanation as part of that. But if you've got no breaking experience, then there's no issue there at all. So all I'm saying, so the answer to the question is, yeah, not a problem. Feel free to apply.
Fantastic. Jonny, I want to clear something about in these questions as well. A lot of universities nowadays, they do not accept students like more than 30, 35s. Okay, whereas York St John University is very generous, and they are very supportive with those students who are looking for future career plans, such as some students, they finished their graduation 15 years back. Now they need a promotion after 15 years of work experience. So York St John University is so generous. They're welcoming those students. Also, study gaps. Some universities, they do not accept any students more than 5 years after their bachelor degree, whereas York St John University is accepting those students who are professionals, who wants to now they want to get more career advantage, and they want to get promotion at their work. So this is really, really good opportunity York St John University is offering. Fantastic.
I couldn't have said it better. You're completely right. We don't have those restrictions, and like I said, we ask for a CV, and we just said if there's anything more than 6 months, we ask for an explanation. But that's it. If you've been working since you graduated from your university in your country, and now you've hit a glass ceiling, you can't get a promotion because you don't have the qualifications. Those are the students that we're trying to work with. I'm doing a lot of work with trying to get into working with businesses internationally and finding these potential students who have been working for 10, 20 years, but they can't go any further. And we're there to offer, like I said, we've got really good, affordable MBA, and that will really help our students progress. So potential students progress. So yeah, like I said, we don't have those restrictions, and I'm specifically going out there and trying to find these 30 to 40-year-old students that have kind of hit a wall within their career and they need extra qualifications, because at York St John we can provide them.
Fantastic. Thank you for your answer. Ariful Haq, is PTE acceptable in York St John University? Yes.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So not the online version, but the written, the in-person one. Yes.
Okay. So due to COVID, there are so many students they are not able to attend the IELTS exam and PTE written exam. But there are some UKVI authorized center who are taking that exam. So university is accepting that
Yeah.
PTE.
So yeah, so we accept all major UKBI approved English language tests, like the in-person ones, the written ones. In terms of online English language tests, we're accepting IELTS Indicator and the Oxford International English Language Test. So if you can't get to a test centre, then you can choose to do IELTS Indicator or the Oxford International. Both are much cheaper than the in-person test, and we're accepting both because of the pandemic. So if you can't get to a test centre, please do one of those courses, and you'll be able to meet our English language requirement.
Thank you, Jonny. One more comment from Adinenki Anyusha from Nigeria. So she is asking, do you accept NECO?
Yeah, so we accept NECO and WIEC. Obviously, they're both very similar qualifications. We accept both. Our entry requirements are the same for both, which is just 5 C6s or higher for our foundation program. And we accept the NECO English at C6 or higher, just like we accept the WIEC English at C6 or higher. So yeah, we do accept all of that. So if you've got their qualifications, you want to apply, please do. We've got a very good Nigerian contingent at the university and a growing community within York. So it's a good time to join if you're from Nigeria.
Thank you, Jonny. I think she asked the same questions again. Okay. Mashfika Jerin Promi. She's asking, please explain the tuition fees payment methods of MSc. I think we cleared it.
Yeah, so we spoke about this before. I don't know if it's what you meant by methods, but there's lots of different ways to pay. All you need to do is go onto our website, type in "pay my fees," and there's a specific page there for international tuition fee payments. So there's lots of different opportunities. So it can be like direct bank transfer, or it can be via Western Union, something like that. Whatever works for you. There's a few different options there for you to be able to pay your fees. And then, like we said, for the MSc, if it's a 2-year program, or if it's everything's paid in the first year. If it's a 1-year program, obviously everything is paid in the first year. So 50% as your deposit and 50% when you enroll. And then if you need to, there is an installment plan you can use as well.
Yes, 50% tuition fees payment. That is a reason why university is asking for 50% tuition fees. Recently, there is a trend going on by UKVI nowadays refusing the students who are paying less money. They said like, if you have £30,000 in your bank account, why did you pay £2,000 or £1,000 deposit? So to avoid those visa refusal, majority universities now are practicing these 50% or 70% or 75% tuition fees paid in advance, whereas York St. John University is asking less before enrollment, 50% tuition fees, which is quite good and is helpful.
Yeah, you're completely right. It is important to note that UKVI are being very, very strict at the moment. But it's also the reason why we ask for 50% as well is part of the visa application is you need to show that you have the funds to cover not only your living costs, but also your remaining tuition fees. And obviously, if you've paid a large chunk of your tuition fees in your deposit, so 50%, then the amount of money that you need to show that you have is a lot less. I think the UK government says it's about just over £9,000 to live in the UK. To do a master's program with us, it's with the scholarship, it's just under £12,000. So realistically, the full cost is about £21,000, and there's some extra costs on top of that. But because you're paying half your fees already, so you're paying £6,000 already, instead of having to show that you've got £21,000 in your bank account, you're only showing you've got £15,000 in your bank account, which is a lot easier to do, and therefore making the whole process a bit easier for the students. And like I said, they are UKVI are being very, very strict at the moment. So it's best just to, do work with the university and make yourself look as credible as possible.
Yeah, also 50% tuition fees payment also is showing a commitment to UKVI, that the student is more committed and that the student paid already 50% tuition fees. So we also get so many students there keep asking us like, we need the lower fees. But to be honest, why don't you think like that way, that if these tuition fees you must have to pay if you want to continue the course? So why not to pay 50%, take less burden on you, and then also increase your visa success rate. So that's why pay 50% is quite reasonable, to be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for the students that are very concerned about COVID, so for example, say you pay your deposit, and I know it's a lot of money, £6,000, £7,000 is a lot of money. And then for some reason, because of the pandemic or whatever reason, you can't come in September and you want to defer to the next year or you want to cancel. It is possible to get a refund of your deposit. We keep, I think, about £700 as a administrative fee, but you will get the remainder of your deposit back if for some reason you can no longer come after you pay your deposit. So I know there'll be a few students out there with the way the world is right now because of the pandemic, panicking.
Thank you, Jonny, for your explanation. Anna Permata, do you offer any international English test? Lots of test centers are closed due to COVID. What should we do? Okay, good question.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying before. It was we offer we accept 2 online English language tests. So the IELTS indicator test and the Oxford International English language test. So obviously, like you said, there's a lot of English language centers English language test centers closed because of COVID. So we are accepting these 2 online English language tests, which means you can meet our English requirements without having to leave your house. And like I said before as well, they're a lot cheaper than these tests that are run in test centers. So if you can't get to a test center, IELTS indicator or Oxford International English language test, either one of those 2 will do the job. And like I said, a lot cheaper as well.
Thank you, Jonny. There's one more question. Sajid Tahsin Khan. Can students pay by installment or all fees has to be paid in one go?
Yeah. There's a trend here. So you can pay all your fees at once. And if you do that, you will receive our 5% discount, our early payment discount. Like I said, the standard procedure is to do 50% of your first year fees as a deposit, and then 50% when you enroll. So it's just 2 payments: one to secure your place, and one when you enroll. If you are struggling financially, then it's 50% as your deposit, and the remaining 50% can be paid in 3 installments, or pay everything beforehand and receive a discount.
Thank you, Jonny. Umar Khoka, he said, what is the fee of foundation course?
The fee is £10,000. So it's a 1-year course. It just costs £10,000.
Is it after scholarship?
After scholarship, it's £9,000.
And the course will be for how long?
Just 1 year, and then you if you do one of our subject-specific programs, you'll automatically progress onto your undergraduate course of your choice. So if you want to do psychology and you do the psychology foundation year, you just do year 0 and then automatically progress onto a psychology course.
Honestly, foundation year cost is really very less compared to other universities. Most of the foundation courses are 11,000, 12,000, and the course duration is for 6 to 7 months, even not more than 9 months. Very few universities offering foundation program with 12 months duration, whereas York St. John University is offering 12 months international foundation course with 12-month duration, and the tuition fees is after scholarship is 9,000. If the student will meet the bachelor entry requirement, so the student will get ICAS, integrated class together, 4 years course.
Yeah, so if they're doing one of our subject-specific courses, they can do they'll do a joint CAS. So it'll be a 4-year CAS, which includes year 0, the foundation year, and then the 3 years of the bachelor's degree.
I noticed one course you have. It's a biomedical science design with 1-year work placement. So if any student will study foundation plus, because we have one student, we applied, but the student is not eligible directly for the bachelor entry. So student will get 5 years duration course. So the student has to pay for the work placement year.
Yeah. So yeah, the student will have to pay for the work placement years aren't free. I can't remember the exact cost, but it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper than the standard payment. It might be 10% of the normal fees. I can't remember. But yeah, it's much reduced. And for those students, if they're doing the foundation year and then they already know they want to go on to a course with a placement year, then it would just be a 5-year CAS, because that would cover all 5 years of study.
And also it's written on York St. John University website that placement will be in NHS for the biomedical science course.
Yeah, for biomedical, it's an NHS placement. For the bioscience, so not biomedical science, but bioscience, so similar course, it's industry placement as well. So in Yorkshire, so the state that York is in, it's very there's lots of biotechnology companies, small to medium-sized biotechnology companies, which means there's lots of job opportunities there. And it's the same to be said for a lot of our other courses as well.
Fantastic. This is really a very good offer for a very good opportunity for the students who just will finish their bachelor course and straight will get relevant work experience and for the NHS, which is a great opportunity, honestly, is York St. John University is offering. Okay, Gagan Shetty, is any scholarship available for foundation course?
Yeah, it's just the same £1,000 scholarship for all courses. So it's available for all international students, no matter the study level. So foundation all the way through to PhD.
Thank you. Fujul Ching, do you have any medicine course after which students can start career as a doctor?
We don't offer medicine, I'm sorry.
Okay, Fujul Ching, sorry for that. Also, what about nursing program options? What is the requirement?
We're bringing out a nursing program next year. So it's the first year. So it's the first year that it's a brand new course, really practical, really hands-on, lots of work placements in the UK. So it'll be the first year that we're running it. In terms of requirements, I don't know what country you're from. I recommend just going onto our website, typing in your country, and we'll be able to tell you what the requirements are.
So nursing is very competitive course nowadays, because every universities are hammering by the students' applications for the nursing course. So I think if you can add nursing course, that will be great as well.
Yeah, so yeah, we've got one. It's starting next year, and applications. I'm not too sure if it's full yet, but it's nearly there.
Thank you. Avai Raj P, will there be any scholarship for MBA with placement program, which we covered already? You told me.
Yeah. So yeah, once again, it's the £1,000 fee reduction scholarship for all international students. So the MBA with placement program is 14,400. So for the 2 years. So with the scholarship, it's 13,400 for the 2 years.
Very reasonable fees. If you divide by 2, the yearly the students are spending 6,500 only, which is really reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. That was the example I used before. So the deposit at that point is 6,700, and then it's 6,700 when you enroll, and then that's it. That's all you have to pay for the 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years course is 13,400, but majority universities who are not offering work placement courses, their first year tuition fees, like 1 year program, is 13,000. So basically, 2 years is a very good product offering by the York St. John University. 13,400 only, MBA with placement. And there are many other courses with placement here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jonny. Another question. Arsalan Nafis, what about returning student 2015 who have already got the honors degree from UK? They will have to do IELTS or not?
I think because it's been 6 years, I think they probably will have to as well. What English qualifications usually last, I think, 2 or 3 years, and it does vary on the qualification. So this one I would have to double check with our admissions team. My initial suggestion is because it's been 6 years, we'd have to get some kind of we'd need some kind of evidence of their English. But I'd check. If you want, just send me an email afterwards and I can check, or email our admissions team directly.
Okay. If the student has a British qualification from inside the UK, it depends on the admission team. But most cases, if the student has a good result plus the good experience after 2015, maybe admission team will consider him without IELTS. But we can be guarantee now.
Yeah, if the student had graduated in 2018, 2019, there'd be no problem at all. There wouldn't be any. We won't need an IELTS at all. But just because it's been 6 years instead of 2 or 3 years, I'm not sure. So I'd recommend. I'd have to double check with the admissions team on that one.
Arsalan Nafis, we will drop you a text message, or you also can send your documents at admission at bwbsolutions.co.uk. You can drop your documents, and we will suggest you what to do. We will discuss with the York St. John University admission team. Ariful Haq, any scholarship for undergraduate is here, £1,000 scholarships.
Yeah, it's just the £1,000 scholarship for all an international student.
Harminder Sethi, what kind of medicine course available and what percentage is required for undergraduate students? Unfortunately, York St. John is not offering any medical course. But instead, if any student wants to study MBBS, you can divert those students towards bioscience or any health-related course or any health care management course. And because in the UK now, health professionals are really they're very demandable, and in health professional students are getting jobs very easily, and salary wise also they're getting more salary. They're nearly compared to nursing course. The students who are studying biomedical science or bioscience, they're getting more opportunities, and also salary also they're getting more. Vigneshwar Srinivasan. I have a friend who is an international gymnast and Asian medalist, won more than 50 national medals till now. Do you have any sports-related subject? Very good.
Yeah, so we do. We've got sports and exercise science and sports and exercise therapy. We also have sports coaching as well. And we have sports management. So we've got lots of sports courses. And I mentioned in my presentation as well, we've opened a brand new sports campus a few years ago. So it's a brand new facility, and it's really impressive. It's full of labs for the students, but also got really good sports facilities, lots of different playing fields and facilities. It's amazing. I'm a big sports fan myself, and I didn't go when the university I went to didn't have those facilities, and I'm hugely jealous of the York St. John students that get to take advantage of those facilities. So yeah, we've got 4 different courses, from the science side of things all the way to the management side of things. So if they're looking for courses, then yeah, we've got loads of different options.
Thank you, Jonny, for your answer. Vignesh, also you can visit York St. John University website, and you can see a lot of information regarding their sports faculty. How they invested a lot of money for their infrastructure, and also there are many facilities for this subject. And also, sports subjects nowadays are very demanding, because people are spending a lot of money in international clubs. So there are many courses. Do you offer any sports psychology, Jonny?
Let me double check. I don't think we do. I'm just going to double check just to make sure. Oh yeah, so we do, but it's an online kind of short course. So it's it's part of our kind of professional continuous professional development offering at the university. So it's an online short course. It's not a full bachelor's or master's program. It's just an online short course.
Okay, thank you, Jonny, for your answer. Ariful Haq wanted to know more about biomedical science. Ariful, because of our time period, you can Google York St. John University, and there will be a lot of information about biomedical science or bioscience or biotech. It's all will be nearly the same. So, Jonny, if you just give them a little bit explanation for the 30 seconds, please.
Yeah. So very quickly, biomedical science course, like I said in our presentation, it's one of our better courses. We've got brand new biomedical science lab, so it's a really hands-on practical course. You're going to be in the lab once a week, every single week from your first week at university. Another key thing is our course leader, Stu Jones, has just won Bioscience Teacher of the Year. So you're literally being taught by the best bioscience teacher out of all UK universities. So it's really hands-on and practical with with really good teachers. And while it brought up, there's placement opportunities as well, whether it's in the NHS or within industry. We are quadruple accredited, so we're accredited by 4 different governing bodies within the industry, and students that graduated last year are already in jobs working on COVID-19 vaccinations and treatments. So it's a really, really cool course.
Thank you, Jonny, for your great explanation. One more is Ruhul Amin. How much study gap do you accept? Again, if you have work experience and also if you don't have more than 6 months study gap, then they will accept any students. So yeah. Amir Afzal, how much gap is acceptable for undergraduate course? Good question.
It depends. I think it's 5 years for undergraduate, and obviously we just need to know what you've been up to. So if there's a big gap, then we need a CV just to explain the gap between leaving school and now coming to university. But obviously, if you've been working for all that time, that makes sense. We just need gaps of 6 months or more. We just need to have an explanation as to why there's a gap there. But if there's no gaps, it should be an issue. And then if you graduate, I think it's 5 years or something like that. It's not a problem.
Thank you, Jonny. Omar Khoka, 2 years graduation is acceptable with UKVI IELTS? I'm not clear about this question, to be honest.
Yeah, I think either it's talking about 2 years, a 2-year program, and can they get it with UKVI IELTS, and that's yes, or do they not need if they graduated from a UK university 2 years ago, do they not need UKVI IELTS? And that's correct. So if you graduated from a British university, so you've done a British qualification within the last 2 years, then yes, you don't need UKVI IELTS. But obviously, if it's more than 3 or 4 years, or if you studied or you graduated from a university outside of the UK, then we would need IELTS.
Thank you, Jonny. Amir Abjal, do you offer any kind of scholarships? Issue is already covered, £1,000. Ram Aging, I want to same question. Another question is Ram Aging. Easy scholarships is cleared already, £1,000. Kaif Khan, Asa, I am Kaif. I have completed my intermediate second year from St. Joseph College. So, what is your question? I don't know. Yeah, if he's an Indian and after 12th grade, if he get more than 60% marks, then he can study bachelor, like a direct bachelor entry.
Correct. Yeah.
And if he will get less than 60% marks, then he must have to do international foundation.
Correct.
Okay. Arafat Abdullah, I want to apply MSc in entrepreneurship and innovative subject. Can you please explain what kind of facilities university will provide in industry period? Okay.
Yeah. So first of all, the onus is on you to find your placement. So if there's a certain area that you want to work in, a certain industry that you want to work in, then you can go find it. But you will have a lot of support. So first of all, our business school has a lot of partnerships and connections. So you'd be able to get a placement through one of them. Our tutors, our teachers within the business school have their own networks and connections. So they might be able to find you a placement. And like I said before, we've got an amazing career service team. And within that, there's a placements team. And they'll be able to help you find a placement as well. So basically, there's three different teams there to help you find a placement. We cannot guarantee and say 100% chance you're definitely going to get it, but it's very, very, very likely that you'll find a placement because there's so much support there. And like I said, in York and the surrounding area, it's growing very, very fast. So there's lots of job opportunities.
Yeah, honestly, because from London, most of the organizations head office are moving from London towards to outside of London to save their operation cost. In that case, York area also is full of now new development, and there are new companies are coming there. So there are more opportunities for the students who will graduate, and they will get their placements plus jobs are available.
Yeah, exactly that. They were even talking about bringing the House of Lords up to York a few months ago. They've decided against it, but that's what they're talking about. Channel 4, one of the leading TV companies in the country, one of the biggest ones, they've moved up. They're looking to move. They're moving to Leeds, which is half an hour from York. They're just building the building now, so they're going to be moving up soon. A lot of Sky, which is another huge TV channel, a lot of their IT stuff is done in the north of England as well. They have studios down south, but you're completely right. A lot of industries moving up north because it's cheaper.
Yeah, and also York is a very very modern city, and once upon a time it was the capital city of England, United Kingdom. So it's already well developed. London is a new capital, for the England, but York was old capital, so it's already developed from 1,000 years. Okay, Gurbal Singh, most classes offline, online. So I think he's asking for the online class or offline classes.
So the plan at the moment is to teach in person, so offline in September. So unless something goes drastically wrong between then and now, we should be teaching in person, physical classes. As I said in my presentation, by the 19th of July, all restrictions will be lifted. We've already got 21-year-olds now getting their first dose. Nearly everyone will have their second dose by the time that the next semester starts. So things should be back to normal in the UK. You don't need to get a corona jab to enter the UK. Obviously, there's lots of restrictions coming in, whether you're from an amber country or a red country. But when it comes to actually to vaccines, you don't need to get one because you'll be, as part of your visa, you'll be paying the immigration health surcharge, and on that means you can get the vaccines in the UK on the NHS while you're here. So then we don't ask you to get the vaccines because you'll be offered them when you get here. So it's not mandatory.
Thank you, Jonny, for nice questions. Jitin Saji, will a graphic design student have good possibilities in finding a part-time job in related field? He's your student now. He got unconditional and also paid his deposit, but he wanted to know more about the part-time jobs related to the graphic design.
Yeah, well, obviously, there's a lot more job opportunities within more traditional sectors like tourism, hospitality, retail, because of the kind of city that York is. It is harder to find a part-time job in a specific industry like that. But my recommendation is when you enroll, speak to your tutors, speak to your teachers, because they will have connections. Speak to the career service team, and they will have connections and partnerships as well. So it is there's a good chance to do it because we've got so many good connections, good networks, and that there's an opportunity to find you part-time jobs. As part of your course as well, there will be some kind of work experience involved as well. So you will have to do some kind of live projects with real world companies as part of your degree. But if you're looking to find a part-time job on top of that as well, there's a lot of people there to support you and help you find those part-time jobs. So yeah, it is possible. It is possible. It's a bit harder than finding a job in the city, just working in a shop or a restaurant or a bar. But it is definitely possible to do, and we've got the teams there to help you do it.
Thank you, Jonny. Basically, York St. John University, they spend a lot of money for the design faculty. Please Google and also go to their website and see all the information regarding their faculty and facilities. Thank you, Jonny. Vishal Shah, I think he's also one student from York St. John University. He got unconditional. His question is, how is the alumni support at the university post course completion? I think Jonny covered it already.
Yeah, it's very good, and we've got a specific team there to help you. You've got access to a lot of things and to a lot of resources and things like that you'll have forever, like Web of Science, stuff like that. You'll have access to that for a while, and also it's the career service as well. You can actually use the career service forever as well. The university I went to, we could use the career service up to 5 years after we graduated, whereas at York St. John, it's there's no restriction that you can use. You can graduate from the university and then come back 30 years later and go, look, I need help finding a job. I need help with my with my job applications. Please can you help? And we will help you. So we're very good in terms of our support for our alumni.
Yeah, thank you, Vishal. We'll talk in detail later on. But yeah, university help the student, the students after graduation, to find a job. Jaisha Jyoti, how many years gap accepted, and after bachelor does research project is counted as study gap? Bachelor.
If you've done a bachelor's, you've gone and worked, it's fine. The study gap isn't a problem. If you're working, it doesn't really matter as long as you can account for the gap, that's fine. If there's a gap of 6 months where you weren't doing anything, we need that explained. But as long as you provide us with a CV that shows us what you've been doing and there's no big gaps, that's fine. The study gap isn't a problem. It's just a gap where you're doing absolutely nothing. That's the issue, and that's what needs explaining. And yeah, if you're doing a research project, that doesn't count as a gap or anything like that, because you're still doing research, you're still doing academic work there. So that's not a problem at all. So basically, yeah, if you've got a gap, if you're not just going, high school to bachelor's to master's, if you've got a bit of a gap because you've been working, you've had a job, you just need to provide a CV, and that shows what you've been up to, and that's it. So don't there's been a few questions about study gaps. Don't worry about study gaps. You just need to show a CV and show what you've been up to.
Thank you, Jonny. Abhishek, students participating in every program eligible for post-study work visa. So
as long as you graduate with a bachelor's degree or higher, so that's bachelor's, master's, PhD, you will qualify for the post-study work visa. You just need to you actually need to graduate. There's no specific programs or subject areas. Every single program counts. You just need to graduate. You just need to graduate from a UK university. That's it.
Just to add one thing is level 5 students and level 7 students won't be able to get it because this is not a proper degree. Because some students ask from African countries, they're asking for PGD course, and the PGD is a postgraduate diploma, which is equivalent to level 7. You won't be able to get any post-study work visa after that.
Yeah. So it's a bachelor's, master's, and PhD.
Thank you, Jonny. Really explain in detail information. Good session. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Jitin, he asked another questions regarding 10 days quarantine be free. Yes.
Well, not for private accommodation. No, so it won't be free for private accommodation. You'll just have to pay your rent as you normally would if you're getting private accommodation. But we will still provide you with food boxes and a welcome pack. As long as we get in contact with your landlord, we can arrange for the welcome pack and the bedding pack to be put there when you get there, and then we'll still arrange for the food boxes to be delivered to your accommodation. It's just it just won't be free because obviously we don't own it, so we can't not charge you. It's if your landlord wants to make it free for you, that's up to him, but we can't do that. So no, if it's private accommodation, you'll still have to pay for the 10 days of your rent. But if you're going to university accommodation, then we can offer it for free.
And how about the airport pickup for any student?
You can still get the airport pickup. So you have to come on the specific weekend. Even if for private accommodation, we'll drop you off at your house. But yeah, you just have to come to Manchester Airport on the specific weekend. If you come any other time, you'll have to travel. You'll have to find your way from the airport to York yourself. But
yeah, the student will save at least 150 to 200 pounds if university will provide the free airport pickup service. A student can save a lot of money, to be honest.
Exactly.
Thank you, Jonny. Abhishek asked another question: what are the criteria to be eligible for PSW? If you have Jonny clearly already, if you have a bachelor and master's degree qualification or PhD qualification, you are eligible. Get rejected.
If you were granted a student visa, then you'll get a post-study work visa as long as you complete your program. The only reason you'd get rejected if you've already got a student visa is if you've done something wrong while you've been on your student visa. If you've broken your visa regulations while you've been there, that's the only reason. But realistically, if you've already got a student visa and you finish your program, there's no reason why you would be rejected.
Thank you, Jonny. Kai also asked, can I get foundation course in business management as I have scored 72 marks in English subject and 55% marks in intermediate second year? He will be eligible for foundation program.
Yeah, so you need 50% or higher for foundation. I'm guessing
so. He's meeting the English entry requirement because he's got 72 marks in English. If he's a recent graduate, graduate from the school, then he will be eligible for the direct entry with the foundation program.
Yeah, so
I think he will get integrated CAS.
Yeah, he'd get the integrated CAS. So he'd get a subject-specific one. So say if he wants to go on to business, one of our business programs, he'd be able to do the business foundation year with the equality meet the requirements with those scores. So he'd do the business foundation year and then move directly onto our business programs and get the integrated CAS.
So he will get basically 4 years course straight. And thank you. Foundation program will be £9,000 for the whole 12 months course. Okay, right. Do you offer fully funded scholarship from Ruhul Amin?
No, we don't. Sorry.
No. Jitin Saji, in case I'm unable to travel to UK.
Yeah. So yeah, if you are unable to travel for whatever reason, you'll be able to start your course online and then come join later on in the year when you can do. So for example, in January this year, when we started the last semester, we were straight into lockdown and the government advice was for all international students to stay at home and not travel. So a lot of our students started their course online and then they traveled to the UK as the restrictions started to lift.
Sorry, Jonny, there are too many comments. I'm just holding you. A student with Kartikan, students with 8 years study gap with good experience in multinational company, do you accept without IELTS?
So we would need IELTS. So we need a secure English language test. So we don't accept MOI letters from any students outside of Europe. So if you're from outside of Europe, and we need a secure English language test. So that can be IELTS, that can be Cambridge Study, that can be TOEFL, Pearson, it could be anything. There's a full list on our website of what we accept, but we don't accept a MOI letter. We need a secure English language test if you're from outside of Europe.
Thank you, Jonny, for your answer. Sharul Chaudhary Shakil, I have YTC not less than 5.5 each band. Overall 5.5. Also, I have completed my bachelor degree 7 years ago with GPA 3.07. Do you think I'm eligible for master's qualification?
Yeah. So because your score is 5.5, you're 0.5 below our requirements, so you'd be required to do a 5-week pre-sessional, which starts at the end of July. So you'd be eligible to do the 5-week pre-sessional, and then yes, you've completed your degree 7 years ago. So as long as you've got a CV that shows what you've been doing for those last 7 years, so whether it's working or whatever, we'd be able to accept you. So yeah. You'll be eligible for the master's course as long as your CV is suitable and you do our 5-week pre-sessional program.
How much would be 5 weeks pre-sessional course?
Ooh, I've got it on my spreadsheet. I've got it on my presentation. It's £1,600 for the 5-week.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very affordable. I didn't know about it. Because most of the universities, they charge 5,000, minimum 5,000 pre-sessional fees. But if it's 1,000 or below 2,000 pounds, which is quite reasonable.
Very 1,600. Yeah.
Okay. Adnika, can a student who is 17 years come in for foundation course? 17.
Unfortunately, you've got to be 18 for York St John. We don't have the measures in place to support underage students, so we don't have the facilities in place for underage students. So you have to be 18 to start a course at York St John. So yeah, the deposit is just 50% of your first year fees. So I think all of our bachelor's programs cost £12,750. So you just have to pay half of that as your deposit, and that's all you need to pay. So is it £6,375? That's all you need to pay.
Abhishek asked another question. This is important. That's why I highlighted. What are the future possibilities if the student couldn't find a work placement in the second year of MBA program?
Honestly, I don't really know because I've never seen it happen. As far as I'm aware, no one's not got a placement, so I don't really know what the procedure is. If you want, I can find out and get back to you. But I've never heard of a student not get a placement, so I don't know what the procedure is. All students have always got placements.
Thank you, Jonny. Nivad, I think he's also a student of York St John University. He got unconditional. He's asking, can IELTS be waived for students who have good score for English in their academics? I think this student, he got more than 85% marks, but mistakenly the university given him English condition. I think we will discuss with the student later on.
Yeah, so for some countries, we can accept the English that they teach in high school. So India, for example, if they get 70% or higher, we can accept that English. But that's the only reason why English would be waived, or IELTS requirement would be waived if they've been to university in their own country or whatever, or they've worked in an English-speaking company. That's not good enough. We do necessarily need a secure English language test. But if you want to know whether we accept your English or not, you just need to go on our website and type in your country, and you'll be able to find it there. So, for example, in India, we do accept it with 70% or higher. We accept the WAEC English in Nigeria. We accept the WASI English in Ghana. So there's a few countries where we do. So I just recommend checking on our website. Waleed, I'm really sorry, but I think I'm going to have to go now.
Yeah. Okay.
Coming on, but this has been really, really good.
Jonny, thanks for your time.
All these questions.
Yeah, we will contact those students, and we will send them an email. Also, a student can contact to us. So thank you, Jonny, for your valuable time. Have a good day. My pleasure.
Perfect. It's great to speak to all the students and answer your questions. Thank you so much for turning up, and thank you again to BWBS for organising this great event.
Thank you.
I look forward to speaking to you all soon.
Thank you, Jonny. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.